And I'm going to share my screen and let's take a look at the agenda. Today, we will be looking at the present perfect versus the present perfect progressive. We're going to take a look at the vocabulary from our module. I hope we have time to take a look at a couple of travel blogs because that's our first project in this grammar class. And I was hoping to spotlight a particular student who completed this assignment called Travel Blog Organizer. This particular student did a great job. I don't see her in here today, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to share. I wanted to get her permission. Oh, wait, I do see her. I think it was Karen. Let me stop sharing for just a moment. I'm hoping, let me just take a look real quick to see who I had spotlighted. Yeah, she is here. That's great. All right, go back up. All right, let me begin recording once again. Or let me begin sharing once again. Karen, I was hoping you completed your travel blog organizer and you did such a nice job. I was wondering if toward the end of class, it would be okay if I shared your assignment with the students so they could see how to complete it. Would that be all right with you?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, now I'm hoping we have time for everything today. So let's move right along and get started. All right, today we are going to take a look at the present perfect versus the present perfect progressive. Before we start, can anyone tell me or give me an example of a verb in the present perfect tense?
Have you ever been in London?
Have been.
Very good. I have been. I have been to London. Very good. What about the present perfect progressive?
Have been waiting.
Very good. Very good. I have been waiting. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. When do you use each one? Sometimes you can use them interchangeably and sometimes you cannot. So it can be a little confusing. All right, let me make this a little bit larger so you can easily see this document. Do you all see a document that says Module 2 present tenses?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very good.
everything
Okay. Okay. All right. And is this large enough?
Okay. Yes.
It's quite large.
Very good. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the present perfect. When do we use it? We use it when something started in the past, continues in the present, and may continue in the future. For example, I've owned the house for 10 years. Obviously, I purchased it in the past, I still own it, and I'll probably own it for many years to come. Now, to ask a question, has Martha studied English for a few years? We also use the present perfect for separate actions that happened in the past and may happen in the future. For example, I have traveled to India twice. Those events occurred in the past. If I say I traveled to India twice, that's the simple past tense, by the way. It doesn't give you any indication that I may travel there again in the future. You simply, you just don't know. If I say I have traveled to India twice, you're still not certain. Maybe I'll travel there in the future, but it certainly opens that door up a little bit wider. So technically speaking, you could use this sentence in the simple past and the present perfect, and the meaning would not change. The only slight difference, it's a nuance, is when I say I have traveled to India twice, it simply opens the door a little bit wider to future possible trips. All right, and we use it, oh, have you ever eaten at this restaurant? So if I say, did you eat at this restaurant? Again, there's a slightly different nuance. If I use the simple past, did you eat at this restaurant? I just want to know for a fact, did you eat there? But if I say, have you ever eaten at this restaurant? I'm sort of implying that I may go eat at that restaurant. What do you think? Was it any good? So it sort of opens the door a little wider for the possibility of a future repeated action. All right, and we also use it for actions completed recently that still influence events occurring now. For example, the president has sent weapons to Ukraine. So that was done a year and a half ago, I think about a year and a half ago, but it continues to influence events that are unfolding now. You could also use the simple past. The president sent weapons to Ukraine. They would both be completely correct. Okay, and then the other example is the sun has set, so please come inside. Again, you could use the simple past here, but the idea is the sun has set. Maybe I'm telling my child, I can't really see you very well out there. The street could get busy, so please come inside. Okay, so what do you think so far? Easy, difficult, so-so?
It's so-so, but it's understandable.
Okay, I understand. So you understand these cases in which it's used. Sometimes it's difficult to remember in the moment, but these examples are clear. I hope. Okay, let's go on. And if anyone has any questions, I can't really see all of the tiles. So please feel free to unmute and interrupt if you need to, if you have a question. Because if you have the question, chances are someone else may too. So how do we form the present perfect? Now, this is a quick review for you. I know you're all familiar with this tense. We use a subject plus have or has plus the past participle. So remember that has is the third person singular, he, she, it. So in other words, I, you, we have, I, you, we, they have, and he, she, it has lived in the US for 5 years. So the usage here is it's an event that began in the past and continues to this day. If I used the simple past tense here, it completely changes the meaning of the sentence. If I told you I lived in the US for 5 years, do you conclude that I still live in the US, or do you conclude that now I am living somewhere else?
That is
Somewhere
somewhere
else.
Exactly. You would conclude, oh, okay, well, where do you live now? You'd assume that I'm living somewhere else. Whereas if I use the present perfect, it's clear to you that I started living here 5 years ago, I continue to live here, and chances are I'll live here for a bit longer. So that's the slight difference. To form the negative, we use the subject plus have or has plus not. You can also use a contraction, haven't, hasn't, plus a past participle. Now this gets a little tricky because, as you know, in English, there are lots of past participles that are irregular. So this is where this tense just gets a little tricky because of all of the irregular past participles. I, you, we, they have not or haven't. He, she, it has not or hasn't eaten yet. So when we ask a question, we use have or has, then we use the subject plus a past participle. Have I, you, we, they, or has he, she, it ever been to India? Here's a good notation. It might be further down in the document, but while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to bring it up. With experiences, for example, a travel experience, a life experience, we often reach for the present perfect tense, especially when we're asking a question. Have you ever eaten at that restaurant? When we're talking about an experience you might have had, we will often reach for the present perfect. Have you ever been to a classical music concert? Has she ever seen Niagara Falls? So when we're talking about an experience, a life experience that someone or something has or hasn't have, we often use this present perfect form. In fact, let me just change this up a bit. All right, now let's move on. Are there any questions? Let me just pause for a moment. Okay, all right, let's move on to present perfect progressive. When do we use the present perfect progressive? Something started in the past, continues in the present, and may continue in the future. That sounds exactly like the present perfect. And that is because there are occasions, there are situations in which these two tenses are interchangeable. For example, I, you, we, they. Oh, wait, this is, okay. Have or has been living in the US for 2 years. Just like I have lived in the US for 2 years, I have been living in the US for 2 years. Have you or has she been working all day? So notice that this is very similar to the present perfect. So for example, I could say, have you lived in the US for 5 years? Or have you been living in the US for 5 years? Have you worked all day? Have you been working all day? You can almost use them interchangeably. And at the bottom of the document, you'll see a few differences in the tenses when they cannot be used interchangeably. To form the present perfect progressive, we use the subject plus have has plus been, which is the past participle of the verb to be, plus a verb ing. So for example, I, you, we, they have, or he, she, it has been listening to music for 2 hours. To form the negative, we use the subject plus have has, or haven't hasn't, plus been, the past participle of to be, plus a verb ing. So I, you, we, they have not or haven't been sleeping. He, she, it has not, hasn't been sleeping long. To ask a question, we use have has, the subject plus the past participle been, and a verb plus ing. Have I, have you, have we, have they been driving all night? Has he, has she, has it been driving all night? Okay, I think I see somebody with a raised hand. Alexander?
Yeah, it's me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's me. Stephanie, as far as I understand, the present perfect shows us the fact, and the present perfect progressive shows us the process.
Very good. That's an excellent way of putting it. I have not heard it put that way, but exactly. I was going to say the present perfect emphasizes the result, whereas the present perfect progressive emphasizes the action. But I like the way you put it better. Could you repeat that, Alex?
Present perfect show us the fact that has happened,
Yes.
and present perfect progressive shows us the process.
Very good. I really like that explanation.
In
I like it better than
Russian,
mine.
in Russian school, where I've been learned when I was a kid with a profound learning of English, it calls in a different way, not the present perfect progressive, present perfect continuous.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
here it is.
shows only the process, not the fact.
That's a great way of putting it. Well, you can, was your English teacher in Russia a native English speaker or a native Russian speaker?
No, native Russian speaker.
Wow. I love hearing those perspectives because I've never heard it said so clearly. That is a really clear explanation.
It was not so long ago, only 35 years ago.
No kidding. And you
just
still
kidding.
remember that. Well, I am really grateful to you. I have never heard it explained so clearly. So thank
So
you.
you're welcome.
And thank your old teacher for me. Liz, did you have a hand raised?
Yes, the Alex mentioned in the sentences the phrase like I have been learned. Is it correct?
I have learned is the present perfect. I have been learning is the present perfect progressive. And Alex mentioned that you could also call it the continuous form. So notice that you see progressive continuous. It just, they're the same thing. Those two words are used interchangeably.
Okay.
So did that answer your question, Liz, or no?
So probably in this context, it's better use the just perfect, this progressive.
In the context of what, living somewhere?
Of his notes about their teacher who learned him like this way at school 35 years ago. So he has been learned the
Okay. We could say this. We could say Alex has learned that the present perfect shows the fact and the present perfect progressive shows the process. Or we
So
could
again-
simply say, this is even better in the past perfect, which is what we'll be studying next week. Alex had learned. It happened long ago.
Yeah, so because it's a fact that happened long ago and never repeat again.
Yeah, you could use the simple past. You could use a couple of different tenses. You could say Alex learned, Alex had learned, Alex has learned. You could use any one of those.
Okay, thank you.
That's very good. Well, thank you. That was great input. I love the way you phrased it. And from now on, I am going to have that explanation at my fingertips. So I appreciate that. Does everyone understand what he means where the present perfect emphasizes the fact, the result, whereas the present perfect progressive emphasizes the action? In other words, the process. They're very similar. It's a slight difference, just a nuance. And once you become advanced speakers and learners of English, there are going to be certain things that are very nuanced, and it all depends on what you want to emphasize. If you want to emphasize the action, oh, I've been watching TV for 4 hours, my eyes hurt, because of the watching TV. Or I've watched TV now for 4 hours, and that's more like just telling you that the duration I watched for 4 hours, and it's not emphasizing the verb watching as much as I have been watching. Okay, now I see a couple of hands. I see, is it Hung?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I love that explanation too. But can I make sure that if it is already a fact, it's not still progressing, then I should not using the have been doing something. Is that correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Yes, it is.
Like,
So if
I'm
I
sorry,
say
I'm sorry to
this,
interrupt.
oh, no problem. I can't always see people's hands and stuff. So don't
Yeah,
worry about
because
interrupting.
I'm trying to ask for example, the third column right here. Somebody has been driving all night. Does that mean he's still driving?
Usually,
Like,
yes.
for example, we are talking about in the morning, right now, and somebody says, "Oh, David has been driving all night,
Yes.
but he's still driving right now." Does that
It's
mean
Not
just
necessarily. Okay, here's the slight little difference, okay? All right. Now very often that is true. And that's the difference. This is when you cannot conflate these two tenses. For example, if I tell you, I've cleaned the house, you know that I've completed cleaning the house. The house is now clean and I'm finished. Okay, but if I say I've been cleaning the house, you don't know if it's finished or if I'm still in the process of it. And let me give you an example of when I might use the present perfect continuous or progressive to emphasize the action, but I finished it. Okay, let's say I've been driving all night, okay? And I show up at your door and I've been driving all night. I knock on the door, you open the door and I'm like, I've been driving all night. I'm exhausted. Now my drive has just finished, so I'm no longer driving, but I would still reach for the verb tense I've been driving to emphasize the action and how it's exhausted me. Does that make sense?
I know.
Okay, now when you use the present perfect, I've cleaned the house. The action is complete. It's finished. It's no longer going on. That's for certain. But when I use the present perfect progressive, you're not sure. But chances are it's still ongoing. I've been writing this essay for 2 days. You don't know if I finished or if I'm still writing. You'll only hear it maybe in the context. I've been writing this essay for 2 hours. I'm so glad I'm done finally. Now you know I'm done. So one tense kind of leaves you in the air about whether the action's complete, and the other tense is much more definite. The present perfect is much more definite. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ooh, I know it gets more confusing the more I talk. Liz, did you just raise your hand again?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. All right. Any other questions? I mean, those are great questions. And that's exactly why we do these face-to-face sessions so that I can take your questions. And I feel like when we clarify your questions, it clarifies the concepts for everybody. At least I hope. The problem with really advanced level classes is that sometimes the more you learn, the more confusing it becomes. So please be patient with yourself. A lot of it is simply just exposure to the language. Okay, so the present perfect, here's where I'm at right now. The present perfect and present perfect continuous tenses can often be used interchangeably to indicate long-term actions. So this is just telling you, it just depends on what you want to emphasize. I've worked for the district for 20 years. Like Alex put it so well, that's the result. That's the length of my work experience with the district. I've been working for the district for 20 years. This emphasizes the process, the action of working, but they mean the same thing. So you could use either one. Okay, now let's take a look at the differences between present perfect and present perfect continuous. Short-term or long-term action. With short-term actions, the present perfect continuous is used to emphasize the duration of the action. And I'm even going to include this, or the process, because I really like that word. I've been playing tennis for 2 hours. So this person started playing, say, at 9 o'clock and is still playing at 11. Have you been driving all night? So I'm asking about like the duration of the drive, the action of the drive. With completed actions, the present perfect is used. With uncompleted actions, the present perfect continuous or present perfect, the present perfect continuous is used. All right, I've written the essay. So the essay is finished and I'm ready to turn it in. Okay, I've been writing the essay. The essay is still in progress. Not necessarily, like when you want to emphasize the action and you just completed it. So that's another distinction. If you use the present perfect continuous with a completed action, either you really want to emphasize the labor, the process, however you want to say it, and the action finished very recently. So for example, the example I gave was, I've been driving all night. I'm exhausted. I just finished driving. If I say I've driven all night, it just doesn't give that sense of like exhaustion and urgency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Okay, with repeated or single actions, I've texted my brother. I texted him one time. I've been texting my brother. If you use this action right here, I've been texting my brother, it means I've been doing this repeatedly. So in other words, with single actions, it's the present perfect. And with repeated actions, it's the present perfect progressive. So you tell me, one time or several times? I've been calling the doctor.
Several.
Good. I've called the pharmacy.
One time.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So stative verbs require the present perfect, not the present perfect continuous. This is very similar to the simple or the present tense. With stative verbs, we do not use ing verbs usually. I've known him
But,
since we were kids.
In this example,
I had called the pharmacy. What you didn't say, I called the pharmacy when I was at home.
Either one would be perfectly correct. There are times when the present perfect and the past tense are completely interchangeable.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so with stative verbs, we use the present perfect, not the present perfect continuous. So I've known him since we were kids, not I've been knowing him since we were kids. Victor, I see that Victor has a hand raised.
Yes. Can you hear me, teacher?
I can.
What stative verbs are? How can I identify?
Oh, I'll bet a lot of students in here can tell you exactly what stative verbs are because that was our grammar focus last, what was it? Last Monday. No,
Okay.
Friday, or Wednesday. Does anyone know what a stative verb is?
It is not.
Love, need, no.
I think it was Monday we covered stative verbs. Do you guys remember? Can you think of any examples of a stative verb?
Feel.
Love, like,
Love,
smell,
feel,
Believe.
smell.
believe, smell. So Victor, based on those verbs, what do you think a stative verb might be? Love, like, agree, believe, think,
Feeling.
Feelings.
Feeling.
feelings, like feelings or kind of conceptual
Opinion.
verbs. States of being. Technically,
Okay.
there are states of being, like feelings. For example, a stative verb is a verb that expresses a state of being. For example, she is beautiful. The fact that she just happens to be very beautiful, like maybe she's beautiful inside and out, that's not going to change overnight. She'll continue to remain beautiful tomorrow, the next day, and she was beautiful 3 days before. It's just a state of being and it continues to be.
Okay.
Good question. That was a great way to review Monday's lesson.
Yeah,
I keep thinking we did past tense, but it was present tense on Monday. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let me show you a quick infographic that I feel kind of sums up. Can you all see the present perfect continuous?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that shows you finished actions the kids have played for 2 hours. Unfinished actions the kids have been playing since this morning. I have taught English for 12 years. I have been teaching this class for 1 hour. So the present perfect continuous has not completed unless you want to make a strong emphasis. Emphasize the result of the action. This is what I'm talking about. He has repaired the car. He has been repairing the car for 2 hours. Indicates how much, how many. It has taken 6 years to write this book. Indicates how much or how many in an ongoing process. Now, this part is kind of important because certain verbs like for or since, you would only use with certain verb tenses. Okay. So how do you feel about these tenses now? Easy, difficult, or so-so?
So.
So-so.
A
Okay.
little.
Okay. What I'd like to do is provide a little bit of guided practice. So I'll show you the site first, and then I'll put the link in the chat box. And I'm going to ask all of us to work independently on this task for about 10 minutes. Then we'll come back as a group and we'll take a look at our answers. And this will sort of test your knowledge to see what you remember about these tenses. I'm going to take you to a site called what is it? Perfect English Grammar? Yeah, Perfect English Grammar. And I love this site. This lady's name is Sinead, and she's an Irish teacher. And I've actually communicated with her in person because she's got some great information on her site. So I've asked if I can share some of her infographics and things, and she says, sure, be my guest. So I'm going to put the site, the link for this page in the chat box. And what you're going to have to do is type in the present perfect or the present perfect progressive, depending on the situation. Now, one thing I want to mention is that whenever you can use a contraction because her answers require a contraction. So if you type it out and instead of using the contraction, you might get it wrong, but technically your answer isn't wrong. It's just that she always uses the contraction for her answers. If you happen to type it out, but it's the same verb tense, consider it correct, okay? All right. So is everyone clear on what we're going to do?
Yes.
Great. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat box, and you all can work for about 10 minutes on your own, and then we'll come back and we will check our answers. Okay, now you should see the link in chat. Do you see it?
Yes.
Great. Okay, now I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to go video mute and mute, and you can complete this on your own for about 10 minutes. All right, let's go up to the site. Let's go up to the site and take a look. All right, now, do you all see the Perfect English Grammar site?
Yes.
Is it large enough?
Yes.
All right, what should I write in this first box?
Have they arrived already?
Arrived.
Why?
It's questioning.
Why this and not the
Because
present
Because
perfect?
already.
Already,
sorry.
very good. The key word there is already. It's done. What will I write
But
here?
I suppose, I'm sorry, Stephanie, but I suppose that it's gonna be only a fact. You already arrived, or you already not. I mean, it shouldn't be a process.
Right, you're absolutely correct. Yes. Lucy,
Run.
Running.
Has run.
why is it the present perfect? I mean, yeah, the present perfect.
It's a progressive.
It's actually the present perfect. The idea is Lucy has run 200 meters today. This little word today leads me to believe that it is a completed action. And I think it was Alex who mentioned it's just a stated fact. I think that's a really good way to look at it. And we're not emphasizing the process. All right, now what about this one? Number 3.
I have been cleaning all morning.
Why? Why would you use I've been cleaning?
All
All
morning.
morning.
Very good. And notice I'm fed up. So you're really emphasizing the process here. Okay, how about this one?
How long have you know?
Why? You're correct. Why?
Because state verb no.
State of verb. Very good. Very good. Okay, how about number 5?
I have been drinking
You're correct. Why?
because recently.
I feel better.
Yeah, very good. That little expression, I feel better, indicates that what we're emphasizing is the process. Sorry about the mess.
I've been baking
Why? Why is it the continuous?
because the mess is there.
Perfect. The
This
mess is
there.
still there. You would have cleaned it up already if you were finished. Very good. Okay, how about number 7?
Have you taken?
Have you taken?
Why is it the present
Yeah.
perfect rather than the present perfect continuous?
The amount of times.
How many times process?
Exactly. And it's a fact. I really like it's a fact. It's not an ongoing action. You may take the test again in the future, but they just want to know how many times. Okay, how about this one?
He has eaten.
He has or he's eaten. Why isn't it he's been eating?
Eaten.
Because it's fact he
done.
has
It's
eaten.
today. Notice that little word today. It indicates that he's finished eating.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Julie has cooked.
Good. Julie's
dinner.
cooked. And I'm going to use, you know that you can use the contraction. Julie's cooked dinner. We know she's finished because it says, let's go and eat. And then how about number 10?
The
The
student
students have
finished.
finished their exam.
This one's pretty obvious because it's quite clear that the exams are finished. This one. Number 11.
What has
been eating.
Eaten.
Been eating.
Why? Why?
Because his face continue
His
dirty.
face is dirty.
Okay, I'm sorry. Why is it the progressive?
Because his face continues dirty.
Exactly. His face is still dirty. The action sort of is still in progress. If he's finished eating, probably mom will clean his face right away, or dad, or whomever. Okay, Iona is exhausted these days.
has
He has been working
Has
too hard.
has been working.
You're correct. Why?
Because it took time it's a process.
Exactly.
I
We're
mean,
emphasizing the process was
working the
so
process.
hard recently. That's the emphasis on the action. Good. How about number 13?
Has never been.
I'm not sure if she uses a contraction or not. We'll see. Luke's. I'm gonna write it out.
Has never been abroad.
Never
think-
been abroad.
Is the contract.
Is it the contraction? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
never quite sure.
Has never been. Uh-huh.
There we go. Okay, number
That's it.
14.
I have been waiting for you
How did you know? You're
Well,
correct. And how did you know?
because free already.
Notice we're emphasizing the process, the action. You know, the person's getting really frustrated and impatient. All right, how about this one?
Have you
finished your homework at?
Yet.
The key word here is finished, right? So you know that it's like a done action. Whoops, did I spell something wrong? I think so. Yeah. Okay, number 16.
How long have you been
a lawyer?
And you're correct. Why wouldn't you use the progressive?
How long time?
Well, we're not really emphasizing the process of becoming a lawyer, right? We're actually emphasizing the result. Let's take a look at number 17.
All day.
I have
have
been
been
reading your book all day.
Good. How did you know that it is the progressive?
all day.
Very
Because-
good. Notice the all day. It's putting the emphasis on the action or the process. Let's take a look at number 18.
She has drank 10 glasses of water.
She has, I think it's drunk. I think the past participle is drunk. Yeah, see the irregular past participles are difficult. Drink, drank, drunk. All right. Number 19.
Have had. I have had. My
The emphasis is on the result, not on the process, not on the action. And finally, number 20.
I have lost.
Very good. Because this is like a done action. Very good. All right. Now, what did you all think about this activity? Was it easy, difficult, or so-so?
So
Interesting. Good.
So.
Did anyone get 100%? Well, that's
No.
not a fair question because you might have gotten it marked
7.
wrong if you didn't use a contraction. So that's not really a fair question. Did most of you feel like you understood why each tense was used when it was?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Definitely.
All right, we still have a lot to do, so I'd like to go ahead and move along if that's okay. All right, let's go back up to our agenda. All right. Now, I wanted to get to one of the most important things in our class is our vocabulary. And I really want to emphasize the vocabulary because I'm hoping to broaden everyone's vocabulary. And let's see, we don't have a lot of time. I do want to get to the organizer. Let me do that first, and then we'll come back to the vocabulary. So let me go to the travel blog organizer. So the big writing task in Module 2 is actually a travel blog organizer. Over the course of the next few weeks, we will be writing travel blogs. We're going to practice informal type of social media writing. That's what like the travel blogs are all about. So the big writing project in Module 2, of course, you have your practice vocabulary, and I hope that you keep up your writing because that's where I can give you individualized feedback. But one of the most important steps to writing well is planning your writing. So in assignment 2.4, you'll notice that I'm taking you on a trip throughout New England in the reading page of your module. So what you're going to do through your travel blogs is take me through a trip in your native country or a country that you know really well. I know some students have lived outside of their native country for years. So if you'd rather do another country, that's fine, but it has to be a place that you know really, really well. So the travel organizer, the New England road trip looks like this. I'm going to take you to at least 4 states, regions, or provinces. So we're going to visit Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont. And in each one of those states, we're going to visit at least 4 different locations. So for example, in Connecticut, we landed at the airport. We went to Yale University, a prestigious university in the US. We went to a special bookstore. We went to a special like little hotel, a museum, and shopping. Okay, so when you organize your trip, you're going to select 4 regions, provinces, or states in your selected country. And then in each one of those states, regions, or provinces, you're going to take me to at least 4 little places. And when you organize your travel blog, please remember that people love to taste places. They love to taste other people's fare and cuisine in their countries. Now, I'm going to bring up a student's travel blog, and this particular student has completed the assignment, and this particular student did an excellent job. So I'm just going to pull up this student's travel blog so that you can get a feel for how yours will look. All right, let me share my screen again. This is Karen's travel blog, and she did a beautiful job on it. So you can all see she's going to take us to Taiwan. And in Taiwan, we're going to Taipei, a major city. We are going to, I'm not going to say this correctly, Kaohsiung, the Hualien. Oh, Karen, I am so butchering the names. Can you tell us what this one is? What's this one?
So that one is Hualien, Taidong.
Oof, I would not have gotten that right. And then what's this one down here?
And the last one is Hsinchu City.
Very good, very good. So notice how she has all of her, she's got major cities here, and then within each city, she takes us to different locations. For example, she's going to take us to this famous building in Taipei, and then she's going to take us to a memorial hall. She's taking us to a zoo, and she's telling us how to get around. Perfect. So it's like you're planning a trip for someone who doesn't know your country well. Think of it like that. She's done a beautiful job on hers. Notice she's got 4 different cities, and then within each city, she has at least 3 locales, and she sort of jots down what she's going to discuss about each one. Remember that good writing takes planning, and it's going to be a piece of cake for her to write this travel blog, because all she has to do is go back and visit her organizer and go, oh, that's what I'm writing about. I'll just go ahead and write down all that information. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I want to encourage you to continue working in Canvas because that's where I get to know you and your grammar personally. All right. And for our last activity of today, I'd like to place you in breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, I'm going to take you to a Jamboard. Looks like this. Okay, and what I want you to do in these Jamboards, you see here, this is a vocabulary word. I want you to take the definition and match them to the vocabulary words by moving these things around. Do you see that? So for example, if you think this word matches this definition, you'll move that here. If you think this definition matches this word, you'll move it here. And that's what you will be doing in your breakout rooms. All you have to do is click and drag these items next to one another. Is that pretty easy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the Jamboard in the chat. So you'll need to click on that link. Now, if you are placed in breakout room 1, let me share one more time. If you are placed in breakout room 1, you'll be on slide 1. If you are placed in breakout room 2, move to slide 2. If you are placed in breakout room 3, move to 3, 4, 5, etc. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you'll do in your group. If you are in breakout room 3, please make sure you are on slide 3. If you are in breakout room 2, please make sure you are in slide 2. Now I'm going to put about 4 people in each breakout room. So hopefully sharing your screen will not be an issue. Okay, so let me go ahead and put the link in the chat.
Sorry, Stephanie, I have to go. So just for you
okay.
to know. Oh, thank you.
Okay, our next class is Monday, okay? Monday at 12:30.
Yeah, no. Yeah, thank you.
You're so
Have
welcome.
a good one.
Okay, does everyone see the link in chat?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please click on the link and go ahead and bring up the Jamboard. Let me know when you have that and I'll open up the breakout rooms.
Yes.
I already opened.
Okay, you've already got it open? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. And we'll take about 10 minutes and then we'll come back together.
Yes, teachers.
Yes.
Okay, first, let me apologize. I forgot to share screen permission for all of you. So that was an exercise in frustration, I'm sure. I apologize so much for that. It's my bad. Let's work on this together and let's see if we can get it done. Can you all see the Jamboard?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, once again, I apologize. I don't mean to make your sessions frustrating, and that must have been you must have been tearing your hair out. Okay. Well, here we have our Jamboard. So let's start with let's start with this definition: to save, to keep from harm, and protect.
Preserve.
Preserve.
Let's go with this one's easy to see: leaves.
Foliage. Foliage.
Foliage. Foliage. How about having a lot of full and healthy growth?
Lush.
Is that a new word for anyone, or have you seen that before?
It's no word for me.
Nope. New for
Good.
me
I
too.
hope so. I hope some of these words are new for you all. Okay. How about a specified kind of food?
Fair.
Fair. That's correct. Now notice fair. This word fair, F-A-R-E, can also be the money you pay to ride public transportation, for example. So when you use fair in a sentence, make sure you're using the definition that is a specified kind of food. All right, now this one's a little hard to see, so let me pull it up a little bit. Let me expand it. Come on, you. Whoops. The type of person or thing that one generally likes.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea, very good. How about to nibble, graze, to read casually, or to window shop?
Browse.
Browse.
Yeah,
Browse.
those are a lot of different meanings for that one word. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take this one over here and I'm going to expand it a bit to make someone have more energy and feel less tired or hot.
Refresh.
Okay. Having a highly favorable reputation or high standing, commanding respect.
Prestigious.
Very good. A lot of you are using like Harvard. Harvard is a prestigious college. Not just colleges, but any institution or even a person can be prestigious. All right, how about having to do with the countryside, relating to or suitable for the country? Very good. Is that a new word for anybody?
For
Yes.
me,
Good. How about this one right here? A period in which something becomes popular again.
Revival.
Good.
I-
Okay, and then finally,
warm. Yeah.
warm and friendly,
Yes.
healthy, lively.
Hearty.
Okay, now I have a question for you. Notice that some of the definitions are green stickies. Some of the definitions are blue stickies. Oh, wait, did we get everybody? Yes, we did. Some of the definitions are blue stickies and some of them are yellow and one of them is pink. Why?
Some of them work, some of them adjective.
Could you
It's
repeat?
noun. It's noun or
Maybe it's a noun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yellow one is
good.
noun.
Very good. What color is noun?
Yellow.
Like
Good.
yellow.
What color is verb?
Blue.
Good. What is the
Blue.
green color?
Adjective.
Adverb.
Adjective. Very good. Very
Adjective.
good. What about the pink?
Idioms.
Idiom.
Yeah, very good. Did you all notice that as we were working or only once I asked?
Once you ask only, we get it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, that's all I have planned for you today. Please accept my apologies for not putting the share screen on. That's so frustrating and I don't mean the session to go that way. But I hope you've learned a little bit today. Our next class will be on Monday, February 12th at 12:30 to 2 o'clock. If anyone has a question, please feel free to stay on. If you don't have any questions, then go have a wonderful day and I will see you on Monday at 12:30. And in the meantime, please continue to do your work on Canvas. That's where I get to know you personally and help you personally with your writing.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a
Bye.
great day,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Have a wonderful
everyone.
day.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
You're so welcome.